All right, everybody. Welcome back to the weekly wrap up. It's week five, or it was just week five. Let's get it. All right, weekly wrap up, week five edition, Rico Dowdle Believers Stand Up edition. Let's show some love in the chat for Rico Dowdle. Everybody that believed, pay your respects. Yeah, so getting right into it. Rico runs wild in Ryan's first win. So yeah, in this one, Rico Dowdle, 200 yards on the ground and a touchdown against a really bad Miami defense. Everybody, if your running backs play the Miami defense, you should start them. Even if they're not even that good, just start them. So yeah, that carried for me. And then Jalen Waddle on the other side of that game had a big 20-point performance thanks to a 50-yard touchdown. And otherwise, just pretty solid across the board. My team got a lot of touchdowns. I don't know if you guys heard about that. Praise of football. Um, but yeah, on the other side, Mahomes and Kyron Williams had great weeks. Jamar Chase had a great 20 minutes of football where he scored two touchdowns furiously fast as I went to the grocery store and said, "What the fuck just happened?" But then in the end, it just wasn't enough. MVP for this game, of course, Rico Dowdle. And LVP was the Seahawks D and special teams. Without them, this game would have been a much closer matchup, and it was a tough L to take for Evan. Moving on. Scout Schnauzer snuffed Eli's efforts. So yeah, Scout had a pretty hearty win over Eli. He never really stood a chance. Matt Stafford led the way for Scout off the waiver wire, 25 points on the board for her. The Rams defense actually sucked, but that's what are you gonna do? They were no good. But then across the board for her, lots of touchdowns as well from Njoku, Wilson, McConkey, and Barkley had that huge receiving touchdown that really put her over the board. On the other side, Herbert stunk, Kamara stunk, Zach Ertz, egg, and Giants defense, egg. So that's tough. MVP of this one, Matthew Stafford, and then LVP, Zach Ertz. Um, Real tough one there. All right, next up, Greta also gets a win. So now there are no winless teams left in the league. Everybody's on the board. No Slappy Joe, no problemo. That's what Greta said. You can quote her on that. So yeah, Javante Williams really carried in this one. He earned MVP in this matchup, and then Jalen Tolbert on the same team. 0 points. So LVP for that one. But it didn't matter. Got found a way to win. Laporta had a big week tight end. AJ Brown had 6.8 points, which is actually a big week for him this season. And then Daniel Jones did just enough to help her get across the board. For Lucas, we saw Jalen Hurts have an all right game. Jameer Gibbs played well as well. And Brian Thomas Jr. did all right. Michael Pittman found the end zone, but then outside of that, just really not enough production across the board. And the Stars played well, and everybody else duds. Next up, and probably I would say between me and Evan's game, this was probably the best game of the week. Thanks to Sam's really good performance. Dak Prescott had a huge one, and Sam's Cowboys corralled Pat's ponies in the win. So yeah, Dak Prescott and the George Pickens stack is paying out once again. That's been a really good move while CeeDee Lamb has been out for Sam, so that's really been paying out. And then Debo Samuel, his namesake, and Darren Waller, both guys that he bet big on this season, paying out. So yeah, McCaffrey played well as well. And then for Patrick, Jonathan Taylor had a huge week. Puka had another big week. Smith and Jigba, huge week. So it's just a tough loss, but when you get 3.9 points combined from your flexes, sometimes you end up losing the ball game. So tough week for Patrick. And yeah, MVP for this one, Dakota Rain Prescott. And LVP, Jamison Williams, wide receiver one. All right, next up, Nick wins with bold zero tight end lineup. Oh, I went too far. Well, fuck it. Nick wins with bold zero tight end lineup. Your move, Taco. Emeka Igbuka was MVP of this one. He had a huge breakout game for the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in the win for this one. And then Colts defense had a good week, and Justin Fields another random 26-point performance, even though they really didn't play that well and his team sucked. So good for him. And then on the other side, we had the LVP, Xavier Scott, negative 0.2 points. So that's not very good. You usually try to get more than that. And then for Shao, Josh Allen played all right. Marvin Harrison Jr. almost had a huge touchdown, but ended up coming up just short. And then Rashid Shaheed did have a huge touchdown, but it ended up not being enough for Shalaby, and he finds a loss in this one. Whoops. Okay, now I go back to this one, and actually, it probably works better this way. Phil's two tight ends, too hot for Jacob to handle. So yeah, MVP of this one definitely Rashad White. He had a big week filling in for the injured Bucky Irving, and those 20 points were a huge help for Philip. Then his quarterback Baker Mayfield had 379 yards. So that's another huge performance in a really high-scoring game against Seattle. And lastly, we had Stephon Diggs and Jake Ferguson both have pretty huge games. Ferguson found the end zone twice. I definitely don't regret trading him. I don't miss him at all. And then for Jacob, yeah, Justin Jefferson solid week. Ramondre Stevenson came back from his like 100th fumble of the season to score two touchdowns in a losing effort. And then, yeah, there's a bunch of tens, not a lot of 20s. Not a lot of winners on there. Oh, and then Drop Mercado, LVP, LOL. Just one man, what? All right, and now standings look like this. So, fun fact: there's no more winless teams, as I mentioned. So yeah, Philip at 5-0, along with Nick, and then at 4-1, Scout sits solo. At 3-2, we have Sam Shao. So that's it. And then after that, we only have five teams with winning records. So the rest of us are in the losers half for now. At 2-3, we have Patrick and Evan and Eli. And then at 1-4, the bottom of the barrel, we got me, Jacob, Lucas, and Greta. So that's a tough break for the bottom four, but at least we're a big group, so we're all the worst together. So congrats on that. Just some couple quick quirks. Patrick has the most points for, while also having the second most points against. So that's led to some funny numbers on his side. I have most points against because God hates me, and it's penance for all the horrible things I've done in my life. But then, yeah, who's hot? Phil and Nick, 5-0. So, yeah, that's pretty hot to me. And then who's not? Eli and Lucas. Eli's on a 3-game losing streak since starting 2-0, and Lucas is on a 4-game losing streak since starting with a win in week one. So, those two guys are both going to be looking to get back into the win column this week. Speaking of, Week 6 preview. So I take on Lucas in another bottom of the barrel matchup. So I suppose this is another His Name Is My Name Too bowl. So thank you, Shao, for that one. And we'll see if Lucas can get the Lucas name back into his household with this one. Next up, Patrick takes on Jacob. Patrick's looking for a big bounce back after a couple of really close losses and high scoring performances for him. So Patrick looking to get back to winning ways, and then Jacob just trying to get back in that win column as well. Next up, we see Nick taking on Eli, and these guys are the newlyweds. So I guess this is the newlywed bowl. I don't know. But yeah, they were groomsmen. So yeah, they're going head to head. Nick looking to stay undefeated. Next up, Philip and Greta. So Philip's trying to stay undefeated as well, while Greta got a taste of victory last week, and she's going to look to double dip again this week. So after that, Evan and Shal both dropped games last week, so they're trying to get back into the win column to make sure they don't fall too far down the standings with that one. And lastly, probably the best matchup of the week is Sam versus Scout, two of the best teams so far this season, high scoring, high in the standings, and they're both coming off a win. So we'll see who comes out on top in that one. And now the awards. Praise of Football Player of the Week is Lil Phil. He scored the most points, and he just kind of keeps doing it, and that feels miraculous to me. And in that way, surely he's praising the football. And yeah, it seems like he put the trophy together, produced it, showed it to all of us, and then he's actually done really well since then. So yeah, good for him. Praise the football, Phil. Also, football praisers, 3-0 this week for the first time this season. Praise the football. Sorry, sack of the week, definitely Lucas. He's now at the bottom of the league after his loss, and he scored the least amount of points. And yeah, it was just a tough loss, tough week for Lucas. But hopefully he can bounce back. Not really because we're playing each other, but best of luck to you on that, Lucas. And so, yeah, anyways, that'll do it for the weekly wrap up, week 5 edition, Rico Dowdle Believer stand up edition. Let's go. Make sure to hit those waivers, set those lineups, and always, always, always remember to pray some football, folks. All right. Have a blessed Tuesday. And yeah, bye, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. And we'll have more next week.